just coming in ourselves a little bit late. So, all
Yep.
right. Well, this is Mini Monday. This is the awesomeness of Google Docs. So I'm actually going to present my screen again. And this time I'm going to be presenting my um, my presentation here. Here we go. And to get to this presentation, it's bit.ly/YSD mini docs. If you want a copy of this, I don't know that you want a copy of this, but in case you do. There's
Yeah.
not too much content on it. It's just, I'm going to be giving out the content. So, you know what, let me go ahead and put that in the chat as well, just in case anybody wants it. Not that you need it, but make sure I have it in the chat. There we go. Okay. All right. So the awesomeness of Google Docs. Now we all know that Google Docs is just a word processor, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not just a word processor. There's so many things that you and your kids can do with it. And some of the stuff you may know, and this may not be anything new. I'm hoping that I have one thing that I can show you that you go, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, that's so awesome. So that way you walk away with something new from Google Docs, because I am a big Pages user. I use Pages all the time. Ask Larry. I use Pages for everything when I'm offline. When I'm online, I use Google Docs for all of my online documents, just because it's so easy for me to share it out with other people, with students, teachers, etc. And I like all the features that it has, and they've added more and more and more and more features. So we have a lot of stuff at our fingertips that's free, F-R-E-E, free. And I don't like that commercial, but I'll just say it's free, free, free. There we go. All right, so Google Docs tool, one of the first tools that we're going to talk about today is voice typing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Google Drive. So I'm going to share out this tab. You see my Google Drive now, Larry?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so of course, to get to Google Docs, there's a couple ways you can get there. My favorite way of getting there is going to my Google Drive. That way I know it's going to be just right in my Google Drive when I'm finished off. So I click New, and I click on Google Docs, and it's going to open up a Google document for me, okay? And we're going to look under the tools, because this is where we're going to be living most of our time today. We're also going to be looking at some things under the file and format, but for now, we're going to go under tools. So if I go into tools, and about halfway down, there's this thing called voice typing. And when I click on it, it's going to bring up a little microphone. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work with me within the Meet, but we're going to give it a try. Basically, what this does is it's going to record my voice, and using that AI that Google has and so many other applications now have, it's going to transpose it into text on the page. But what makes this even more amazing than it can just do that, so think about your kids who may struggle with writing, who may struggle with typing. They can actually say it, and it will put it on the page for them. But it doesn't just do it in English. It can do it in a variety of languages. So if I'm a Spanish speaker, I can click on the little disclosure arrow here, and I can change that into Spanish, or I can look at all the different types of English that it has. So it's got, and this is like way more than the last time I was even in here just a few weeks ago doing the same presentation with some other people. So there's a lot of languages in here, and it is pretty right on, don't you think, Larry? It's a way, 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 way better than what it used to be.
Oh, it
It's
is
pretty.
spot
Yeah,
on.
it is spot on. Yes.
And
So
this does work with Chromebooks, just as a heads up.
yes, so your students can do this as well. And if you notice, there are some other languages in here. There's some different Russian languages that are in here. It's got everything. Okay, so when you click on a language, it will actually you'll speak it in that language, and it will type out on the page in that language. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't know too many phrases in other languages. Otherwise, I could demonstrate it for you. But it does work. So I'm just going to go ahead and just use regular old English for now. So I'm going to use the United States English, and I click on the microphone to start speaking, and it should start typing as I speak. And I can also say I can also have it put in the quotation marks, the periods, all that, but just by saying that. And then I can also say new line, and it'll start a new line for me. So let's see this one. Hey, Google, will you please, oh, I got all out first. There we go. Hey, Google, will you please start typing everything that I say? Question mark, new line. This is quite amazing, and you'll see how quick it is. It is almost literally word for word what I am saying. It is typing out. And I'll go ahead and stop that microphone. Okay, so now as a student, I can look at this and I can go, hey, that is not what I said there. Because sometimes Google's going to get it wrong. And that's okay. Because now as I can self-edit, I can go back and I can edit this. I can change this all up at how I want to change it. And that's what makes, again, this tool so incredible. And I think about those students that do struggle with writing. I know there's a lot of them out there. And it's tough to get it out onto paper, right? But they are very verbal and they can tell you a story and it's amazing. So now they can make that amazing story happen on paper using the Google Translate tool. And as a teacher, this is really helpful too, because you could actually, write notes as you're speaking, and it's right there for you and for your kids. Are there any questions about using the voice typing tool? Okay, I'm not on the meet, so I can't see anything, but hopefully, Larry, you'll keep me abreast if any.
I'm looking
Okay.
out.
Okay.
Out.
All right. So now there's another tool. So let's say that I've completed this document in English, but I need to get this to a parent because this is actually a letter for a parent that is speaking another language. What if I can only speak English, but I have somebody who speaks another language? Is there a way that I can get this translated into another language? And the answer is yes. I can either type it out in English and then translate it, or I can use the voice typing if I wanted to. I'm just actually going to use the voice typing since I've already have it here on the page. But I'm going to go again into tools, and you're going to see right above the voice typing is something called Translate Document. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's telling me right here what it's going to do. It's going to create a new document it's going to make a copy of this one, but it's going to translate it into a different language. So I'm going to have my original English one, this one here that I've just worked on. And now I'm going to have another document that's going to have it translated for me. So I can choose whatever name I want. I'm going to leave it translated copy of untitled document. That's fine. And I'm going to translate this. I'm going to translate this into Spanish. So which Spanish should I use, Larry? They have so many. Let me see. Did I miss it?
Oh, you went.
I must have gone too far.
I think it's towards the top.
I think so too. There's Chinese. How come I'm not seeing it? Espanol. I'm not seeing it. That's interesting. Are you seeing the languages here, or are you not seeing the languages?
Okay. I see the languages. Yes, I do.
I just want to make sure you can see everything that's on my page. I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? I see Portuguese. There it is. Let me try that again. Right there. There we go. Spanish. So I'd say click translate. So now what it's going to do, I'm going to open up this new tab here, is now it took what I just did in English. I still have my English version, and it translated it into Spanish for me. Now, I don't speak Spanish that well. I know a few phrases here and there, but if I were to look at this, I'm not sure on the translation, but I'm hoping that it is as good as they tell me that it is.
Now, it's not a word-for-word translation, but it's still not perfect. You might still have to tweak a little bit, but a lot of times it's good enough to share with your parents if you don't speak Spanish.
And I'm going to just mention this, that when I worked in the Clark County School District in Nevada, we had a lot of Mandarin Chinese. We had a large population, and they hardly spoke English, if at all. And we couldn't speak Chinese. There was a huge barrier in between us. And so we had to do a lot of, just trying to figure out what each other was saying. And that happened to everybody in our building. Wouldn't it have been great to have this translator? Because then I could actually write something out in English. And even if it wasn't exactly perfect, they would understand what I was telling them. And that would have taken away that barrier completely between the two of us, or the three of us, or the 10 of us, or however many there were. So I think this is an amazing tool, and it's just going to help with some of those kids and possibly some of those parents that you may have some language barriers with.
Margarita, thank you for telling us it's a good translation. That's a good heads
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, Google, you didn't let me down. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we've got translate, we've got voice typing, and I'm going to tell you, I would give you the time to do it, but we've only got, you know, just enough time just to kind of go through some of this stuff. But please, you try to play with this stuff and practice this on, you know, some of these tools on your own, because they are quite amazing. And again, imagine the power of them in the hands of your children. And I know some people are like, well, but if I'm teaching a foreign language class, this is going to be almost a little too helpful for my students. But I'm looking at it on the other side of the coin. If I'm having trouble, if I'm struggling in a foreign language class, this may help me to understand and make those connections between English words and the words in the language that I'm studying. So this actually may be a help. So I'm just going to put that out there. And you know what? This is just another tool that we have at our fingertips. So I'm hoping that you allow your kids to be able to use that. Okay. All right, I'm going to head back to my presentation now. I'm glad that share this tab is now working again. Whew. That's good to know too. All right, so now we're going to go back into our tools and we're going to take a look at our preferences, because there's some really cool things that we can do, and we can have like shortcuts for ourselves as we're using Google Docs, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my document and I'm going to go up to tools, and down below the script editor are our preferences. So I'm going to click on that. And if you have a document open, please feel free to follow right along. Okay, so under general, these are the things that you can choose to do or you can choose not to do in Google Docs. Now I'm going to tell you that your version of Google Docs is your version. So if you make all these changes, you go, you know, I'm going to send out a Google Doc to my students. I'm going to assign it. I'm going to take all this stuff off. It's not going to be taken off for them because each person's preference is within their account. So it's not going to matter. So don't think you can change the preferences of a whole document for everybody. It doesn't quite happen that way. It's just for you as an individual. All right, so you can capitalize words automatically. You can use smart quotes, detect links, all of these things here that are listed here. You can either choose to do them or not to do them. What I really think is really cool is over here under the substitutions. So let's say that I want to use the copyright symbol. So I put in here what I want to have to type in order to get the copyright symbol. Now, you don't want to type just a letter of the alphabet, because anytime that you type that letter, then you're going to get a copyright symbol. So you have to be kind of strategic in what you want to type and how you want it to come out. But you can choose to use these, or you can X these if you want. If you don't want them here, you want to get rid of them, you can. And of course, you can add more and more and more as you want. And if you don't remember what they are, you can always go into your preferences under tools and find them and go, oh, that's right, I need to type a 1/2 to get a 1/2, and then it'll put that on my paper for me. So it's just a quick way, and you can customize all of these as you wish. You do not have to use what they have here. You can make up your own as you go. So it's really a nice little way to help yourself with your typing and getting through that paper, that document a little bit quicker. And again, under general, here's all your general, and then under your substitutions. And you just click OK when you're finished. Okay? Any questions about adding the preferences? And again, that's under tools, under preferences. Okay? All right. And we're going to go back here. And all right. We just did the translating documents. We got a little ahead of ourselves there. And now for citations. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I know when I was in school, when I was getting my master's, my biggest worry wasn't my content. My biggest worry wasn't, you know, is my paper going to be good enough? My biggest worry was, did I cite my stuff properly? And we want our kids to cite their stuff that they're getting off of the internet properly, because it's just super easy. We're all guilty of it. I know I am. I know Larry is. I know all of us are, of doing that quick copy paste and putting it into a document or whatever, right? We're all guilty of that. But if we're going to take stuff from the internet, especially if it's what somebody else has said, or if we're taking it from a specific website, we need to cite that. And one of the ways that we can do that is by using the Explore tool. Now, the Explore tool doesn't just help you to cite, but it also helps you to find really good content that's more academic, okay? So again, I'm going to go back into my document here. And I'm going to just go ahead and start a new paragraph. And I'm going to write, sharks are awesome. I don't know if you saw that or not, but as I was typing, I did not put a capital letter for the S, and it did it automatically for me because that was one of my preferences that I have. So that's nice. All right, so I'm going to leave sharks are awesome there because, you know, I think sharks are awesome. And I want you to look down here. And here's the Explore button right down here at the bottom, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And when I do, Google's like, hey, you're talking about Google, you're talking about typing, and you're talking about sharks. Are any of these the things that you want me to look up and you want me to find some stuff about? And so I'm going to click on sharks, and some things are going to come up here. First of all, it's going to give me a list of web pages. You're going to see web pages right here. So I can choose any of these web pages, and then I can cite them. Okay, and I'll show you that in just a second. I can also do images. If I want to put an image into my document, I can find the image that I want. I'm going to go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to choose this one here. Okay, and you'll see that there's a big insert. Just click insert, and now it's putting that picture in there. And I can shrink it down by getting my little handles and making it a little bit smaller. Okay, but what you don't know is at the bottom of it, it actually is citing the picture, okay? It's doing that automatically for me because I got it through the Explorer instead of just finding it on the internet, copying it and pasting it into my document, which is what we don't want our kids to do. We want our kids to make sure that they're getting that content properly, okay? You can also find things out of your drive and put them in here through the Explorer, but I'm gonna go back to the web, okay? Okay, and I'm going to pretend that I need to find some stuff that's in APA style. Because when I cite it, I want to cite it in APA style. And I want you to look here that I can change from MLA APA to Chicago. So I'm going to click on APA. Okay. And I'm going to click on this one here. I'm actually going to a website and I'm reading it. Ooh, this is really, really, really good. This is the one I want. So I'm going to use this website. Okay. So when I do, I go back here and you see there's these little quotation marks right here. So I click on them. Okay. And you see that right here, if it will let me zoom in, it put a little 1 right here. If I had written some information here, it puts a little 1 because that's going to be my little footnote, because at the bottom of the page, look what it did. It cited it in APA style for me. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was click on the website, get the information, not word for word, of course, that's plagiarism, but I can reformat it, reword it the way that, you know, paraphrase it the way that I think it needs to be said, and then make sure that I clicked on the little quotes, and now it put it down in the bottom there as a footnote for me. So now my teacher, you know, will see that I cited this properly. I did the proper work in order to get the information, okay? Are there any questions about using the Explore tool?
I don't see anything in the chat.
No questions? Okay, I'm hoping I've given somebody something that they haven't seen so far. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click out of the Explorer. Now again, you find the rainbow G and click on those 3 dots, and this is where you can change the way that you're citing it. Some people prefer the APA, some people the MLA. It just depends on, I guess, what your professor or what your teacher wants you to cite it in. So that's, you do have that option, but it does allow you to cite in different ways. It's not just one way, which is nice also. Again, I wish I had this tool when I was getting my master's because it sure would have helped me a lot. All right, let me go back to my presentation here. Okay. So the Explore tool is really cool in that way that, again, it'll find, and all of those sites that it found for me, most of them were scholarly, which means that it's going to have good educational information. It's not going to be just, you know, Joe Bob's website on sharks, you know, where it's all about his opinion on the greatest shark that's out there. This is actual educational information that I'm going to be able to pull from. And that's why using that Explore tool is really cool for our kids, because they're going to get better information. Okay. All right. Now comes the fun part, inserting images. You saw that I inserted an image earlier using the Explore tool. But there's another way that I can use to insert images. And that is by just going to the insert tool, okay? So I'm gonna go back over here to my documents, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and go down here a couple of lines, share this out, make sure I'm sharing out. All right, so up here at the top, we have insert. And look at all the different things that we can insert within a document. We can insert images, we can insert tables, drawings. Drawings, yes, so you can draw something in Google Draw and bring it into your Google document. Yes, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use an image and look at the different ways that we can insert an image. I can upload from my computer, I can get it from my drive. If I have Google Photos, if I'm using Google Photos, I can get it from there. I don't recommend using the URL one. And I'm not sure why that one is still available, but there's a couple reasons why we don't want to use it. First of all, that website could go away tomorrow. And then that link doesn't work anymore. There's no picture there. Secondly, do I have permission to use that image? If I don't have permission to use the image, if it's not, like, on the greater web, on the common, what's it called? Common. Oh, yeah, it just left my mind just as I was saying it. Anyway, if it's not
Creative Commons, Creative Commons.
That's it. Thank you, whoever posted that. If it's not out there and it's not, somebody says, yeah, you can go ahead and use this, and somebody comes across it, and chances are they're not going to come across it in a Google document that's shared between you and a student, but it's on the internet, and we need to be careful with that. So, and we need to teach our kids the right way. So doing that to me is just not a good idea at all. I would never recommend to my kids to use the URL version of inserting an image, okay? But it's there. So we just have to, I just try to pretend it's not there. And of course, if they want to use their camera, if they want to get, have the thumbs up or whatever they want to do, they can also use their camera. I want to go ahead and upload from my computer, okay? And I have this really nice picture of my cat that I'm going to upload. There she is, my alley cat. And I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit. And you're going to notice that you don't see that little window down here. That's because this isn't cited, because this is my picture. I have ownership of this picture, so I don't need to cite it. But you know what these little pieces here mean? Right now, what this means is inline, so that means that text will go above it and text will go below it. And because it's in line with the text. If I choose this option, it kind of moved it up a little bit, and you'll notice that it's kind of covering some of the words now, because it's like the text is kind of like going around the words a little bit. Or I can make it so that it's just above and below only. Okay. You can also change the size of the margin between the words and the image, so you can have it all the way down to 0 if you want. And you can also have the image move with the text. You can fix it so it's on the page and it's not going to move at all, and all the words will move around it. And that'll be your choice as well. I prefer this model here just because it makes kind of everything kind of stay where it needs to stay. That's me personally. When I put the picture in, and again, this also works when you take it from the Explorer. Again, you can shrink and bring it up, but you can also use a little ball on top, and you can change how it looks on the page. It doesn't have to be necessarily a 90-degree angle perpendicular. You can actually change the picture. Now, one thing about Google Docs that I'm sad about is that I can't layer picture upon picture upon picture in a Google document. I can't do that. So if I put another picture in here, it's going to go down below this picture here. It will not stack on top of it. The place where I do that will be in Google Slides. So that's been frustrating to some people, because they want to make a document and they want to have different pictures, and they want to have these pictures almost like a collage, or they want to have pictures a little bit closer to each other. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to get that formatting down if you're going to use a lot of images. And I tell people, if they use a lot of images, don't use a Google Doc. Go into Google Slides, and then that way you can put them exactly over the top of each other. You can layer them, and you won't have the issue that you do have in Google Docs. Although I do like the way Google Docs looks on the end point of it, but it's entirely up to you. Just remember, you can't stack photos. I've tried 100 times, it just doesn't work. It makes me want to cry sometimes because I really wanted that to happen. And they keep saying it's going to happen one day, just not today. So are there any questions about adding images? Now, did you see video on there under the insert? I don't see video anywhere in here. Guess what? You can have video, even though it's not here. We're just going to trick Google a little bit. It's pretty cool how it works. So I'm hoping that I have this kind of document on my desktop. Let's see if I've got one. Yes, I do. There it is. Here's my little video in there. Now it's not going to be a super long video, but this is a GIF. Some people say GIF. Some people say GIF. It's GIF. That's what it is. This is a GIF that I found at Jiffy. I downloaded it. And because Google sees this as an image, it puts it into the document as an image, even though it's moving. And it's so awesome that I can do this. But, you know, we've got some tools available to us that will allow us to make some GIFs. So think about this. If I was making a document on how to maybe log into iStation, or how to log into, what's the new one, Lexia, that where some people are having some issues with, or you know, how to get into the online testing or something like that, and I wanted to show them my screen and do like a screencast, I can make a screencast and I can turn that into a GIF. I can't do it, you know, it should be very long, but I can take that screencast, turn it into a GIF. It can't have sound. And then I can download it or put it into my Google Drive, and then I can pop it into a Google document with some verbiage on how to do that. And wait a minute, well, how do we make a GIF? I mean, I don't want to have to use an online GIF maker. No, we have something called, what's it called, Larry? Screencastify. We have Screencastify available to us, and there's an ability to make a GIF right in Screencastify. So we're going to give you just a little tutorial on even how to use that, because it's super easy to do. You're going to record your screen, and then we're going to set it up and download it as a GIF. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then how did I insert this? I just clicked on image and I just uploaded from my computer. I didn't have to go and hunt for anything else. So as long as it has that GIF at the end, it will upload and put in that little movie video for you. But again, you don't want to go over probably 35 seconds. And that's just because then it has a hard time looping it. So you want to make sure that they're little bits, like you want to click here, you want to do this, you want to make it just little bits and pieces. All right. So you said we can do this. So how am I going to do this? What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to open up my Screencastify here. I'm going to open this up. Yes. You don't see that. So I'm going to actually go back in and change that over. So that way we can, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, get back into my Meet, and I'm going to present I guess, my entire window. Okay. There we go. All right. And I'm going to go over to a new tab. And you see my Screencastify now, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here's my Screencastify. So I decide whether I'm going to record my desktop, webcam, or browser tab. Now, if you record your browser tab, of course, it's going to just stay within that.
You don't see the little pop-up window of it.
You don't see the pop-up window. That's really interesting.
No.
I guess I'm going to have to do my whole screen then, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let me try it again. I apologize. It's a Monday. It's Monday. Stretch this
and notice the nice screen that Misha has, how wide it is.
Yeah, it's big. It's very big. All right, let me see if you see it now. Do you see it now?
Yes, it's there.
Yay,
I want to zoom in though.
Okay, let's see if it'll let, you know what, it's only going to let me zoom into the little window, so I'm going to have to wait a minute. All right, so we're going to go to desktop, okay? And I'm just going to record just a little bit on my desktop. So I'm going to click record. And it's asking me, I want to record my entire screen. I say yes, I'm going to share it out. And so now I'm just going to do like a circle here and click in here and just come back over here. And now I'm ready to stop. I only did just a couple of seconds on purpose. Okay. And now it's showing it to me, right? So I already know what it looks like. I'm good. I'm good. All right. So now what I can do is I can download it. Look at that bottom part right here where it says export animated GIF. What it's going to do is it's going to loop this. It's just going to loop it and loop it and loop it. So it'll show where my cursor is. Now, I use this on a big screen, so it's got kind of like everything here. I don't want it to do that, right? So what I probably would do is I would make sure that I'm on like a tab or a window of something like that, and then be able to do that. So if I go export as GIF, I decide what size do I want. I'm gonna keep it as where it was. Export, and now it's exporting it. And it's downloading it too, because when it's exporting, it's going to download it to either my downloads or my desktop. So I'm just going to wait. All right, and now it's put it into GIF format. Download it. Where am I going to do? I'm going to do it to my desktop. Okay. All righty. I think it's there now. So I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting my entire screen. And I'm going to go back and just present my tab again of my document. Okay, and see, I still have those fireworks going there. So I'm going to go ahead and go down below the fireworks here. Okay, and I am going to do an insert. There, I think somebody might be at the door.
Here, I'll go get that. I'll get that.
And it was called Untitled. There it is right there. Open it up. And there's my GIF. And it's hard to see, but my mouse, you'll see that there's my window that's popping open and the whole thing. It is actually working. But you see that I've already added 2 GIFs. I can add more. I can add as many as I want, actually. So this would be a really great way to get kids, because our kids have Screencastify, and to get and use it as a teacher, as a tutorial. But what about having our kids use it as a tutorial to help each other, right? They can make a tutorial on how to use Screencastify or whatever that they wanted to, using those little GIFs, and then adding the content in of what they're supposed to do, right? Those instructions, right? Any questions about that Screencastify part about creating a GIF? I just went to download and export GIF. Questions?
You know what's cool to use to create GIFs with is your Google Slides. And then you have multiple slides and you can show first, second, third, or you have different images that move. It's really a lot of fun to use the Google Slides to create the GIFs. Real easy too.
Well, and using Screencastify for just about anything, I mean, is really great. But again, with the GIF, you're not going to get sound, so don't think that you're going to be able to narrate over anything. Now, you could put it in there and you know, if this was going to be just a video and then narrate over the top of that. But for a GIF, it's never going to record sound. It's only going to record the images. Okay.
Yep. And
again, I have it here in my document, and as you can see, it's working just beautifully. Okay. So no questions. We're good, right?
We're good.
All right. Well, I'm going to move on here and share this tab. And so we insert a video. We made our own GIFs. But what if you don't have the time to make your own GIFs? What if you want to make a GIF, or you want to get a GIF from somewhere else that's already made? So there's this really cool place called Jiffy. Okay. Yes, Jiffy. Some people say Giphy, but I say Jiffy. And so I'm going to go ahead and go there. I know you're still seeing that other screen. It's jiffy.com. Let me just pop it up here first. Okay. And I don't recommend letting your kids use this, because there are some on here that can be quite, how should I say it, inappropriate. There are some really great ones on here, but there's some really not great ones on here because this is actually created by users. You sign up for an account if you want to. You don't have to. You can just download the GIFs right from here. But if you go in here and you want to create a GIF and put it out for the world to have it, you can do that. And that's how all these GIFs get here on their site. But you just have to be careful as you're going through whatever it is that you search for in here. Of course, they will pop up, and we all know how to kind of use this. And I hope you all know how to download everything here. So if I just put in here happy, because we're all happy today. Monday is coming to a close, and I like this one here, this sun face here. So I'm going to click on it. And what I'm going to do, see, I can copy the link, I can copy it, I can embed it, I can do all of that stuff. But if I'm on a Mac, I'm going to right click on it. And on a Windows machine, I'll right click on it. On a Mac, to do a right click, I believe it is a command, right? And then or a control and the mouse, right?
Yep.
And now save image as. I click on save image as. It's going to tell me where I want to save it. So I'm going to say this is the sun. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. Like I save everything else in the world to my desktop. So now the image is saved to my desktop. Now, if I go to open that image on my desktop, it's going to be like a whole bunch of little images, like, you know, all the images that are run together to make that animation. So it's not going to look right. But when you upload it or you add it to your document or wherever it is, it'll come out and looking just fine. So again, you just right click on it and save image as, and then just save that to your desktop. And then you've got it. So a lot of people do like to do the copy image. I like to save it first and then do an upload. That's how I work when I'm working with Google Docs. It seems to work better. You can also put the GIFs into Google Forms and of course into Google Slides as well. Okay, they work really well in there as well. Okay, any questions about using Giphy and how that works? Wow, we've got like a GT group here today, Larry.
Yeah, well, but the thing about Google Docs is so easy to use. It really is. It's not that complicated. It's just finding what is where and how to do it real quick.
Yes.
But
yes.
It is an easy thing to use.
All right, so we're going to talk about what happens when I'm done with my document. And how can I set up like the parameters of my document? So we're going to do that part first. So if I wanted to have specific, you know, of course you can do like, you know, the 8.5 by 11, and you can actually change the size of your document and of course the borders of your document. So I'm going to go into File, and to do that, I go down to Page Setup. Okay, and under Page Setup, I can apply this either to my whole document or do a selected part of my document. I'm going to do the whole document. You can choose Portrait or Landscape. Okay, we know what that is. I can also change the paper size. There's a lot of different ones here to choose from. Okay, I guess that's if you are printing, which we don't want to talk about too much. Your page color, so you can actually change the color of the background of your page of your document if you so wish. I'll leave mine as white. And then of course, then you've got your margins. I'm going to tell you the trick that I have learned as I'm typing along, and those 1-inch margins on the side, a lot of times that doesn't give me a whole lot of real estate in the middle of my page. So what I normally do is I normally do a 0.33 on the right and the left, and then the top. Sometimes I leave it as an inch if I'm going to put a header in it, and sometimes I don't. But what I need to do is I need to click OK. Now, if this is what I want to use all the time, forever and ever, I can use this as my default. So every time I open up a Google document from here on out, this is what's going to come up are my settings. Can I go back and change them? Absolutely. At any time I can change them on any document. But if I want this to be what my default is, so this is what it's always going to start with, I can do that as well by setting it as the default. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. Okay. So that's how you're going to set up your pages for your document. All right. Now, when it's time to close up your document, of course, we know that Google Docs saves automatically. All right. But I want to show you something. I want to show you, where are you? Download. Okay. So if I want to download this document, maybe this is a part of my next great book, right? And I want to download this so that way I can work on it offline. I might want to use that. I might want to download that as a Microsoft Word document. I can do that. An open document, which is like an older version of Microsoft Word. Of course, rich text, PDF, if I don't want to make changes to it. But I want you to notice this one down here, EPUB. Again, think of your students. How cool would it be is if they were creating a book using Google Docs and they could export it as an EPUB. You know, EPUBs work on iPads, they work on Kindles, they work on all of those different reader type devices. It's called an EPUB. All we have to do is upload that to our Google, or after we've created the EPUB, we put it up into Google Drive and then access that off of one of the devices and it will open up as a book. That is amazing. This is having this option here is really nice. So think about that for students, you know, for publishing books, that we now have a way for them to publish online that's safe and it's not going to go anywhere except to you as the teacher, to them, and to a device that's going to allow it to read like a book. So EPUB is pretty cool. Okay, I really like that a lot. I'm so happy that's there. Another thing, version history. I hope you all know about version history, because every time I see version history, I think of my son. Every time. And when he was in 6th grade and he was just sitting beside himself. I had never seen him that sad before. He had worked all week on this paper for his teacher in Google Docs. And she somehow selected all of his document. We're still not sure how that happened. And she hit the delete button and then they closed the document. Well, you know, you can't do an undo, right? Once you've closed the document and reopened it, it's like it forgot. And he's like, Mom, it's gone. And I'm like, what's gone? My document, I worked so hard on this paper. Now it's all gone. I go, what'd you make it in? Google Docs. I go, oh no, honey, it's not gone. It's still there. He goes, no, Mom, we tried everything. I go, no, you didn't try everything, because it is still there. Version history. Okay. So where you can find version history here, but where I always like to find it is right here where it says the last edit was made, because this is where it's going to come up on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And right here is my version history. Okay. And you'll notice a little disclosure arrow. It's going to show me all the different versions, because it saves every few seconds, because Google never forgets. So what I did was I went back to the day before and I went back to before he went to that class. I clicked on it and of course his document was still there. So I'm going to go back here to like this one. Let's see. And you'll see that my GIFs aren't there and my other stuff isn't there, because this happened at 4:47 and I just click restore version. And now it's like it was at 4:47 and it's 5:14. So half an hour ago, this is what my document looked like. Now, this could be a year from now. And I could go, I wonder what it looked like a year before. I'm trying to remember, because sometimes I do it a lot where I'm working on something and I mess up the formatting of something. It happens to me a lot. And I want to get it, and I close the document and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do an undo. So I go into version history and I find the version that I want, and then it takes me back. Or if I'm working on, I do a lot of Google Draw for the badges and different things, and maybe I want to find a specific badge outline that I really liked, I can go back and I can find that through my version history, and then I can open that one up, and there I am. And it was like it never got deleted, right? It's right there in my face. So this is a really great feature to have for your students who may have an issue with, oh, you know what, my work got deleted. Well, here, let's take a look at the version history and see what you did before it got deleted. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, that may not always be true, or sometimes they may have something super awesome in there and they've deleted it, and it'll give you that opportunity to go back and find it and say, oh my gosh, this was amazing. Why did you delete this? So use it often. It's a really great tool.
Now, if students are doing something in collaboration, it will show what each student did in the work.
Yes. So if I'm in a group, Larry's in my group, and Larry thinks it'd be really funny to like delete my work. My teacher will see it. We'll each be in our what we've typed in will be in a different color, and where he deleted my work there'll be a strike through with his color showing that he deleted it. And so then I can go back and I can see what everybody did within this document. Everybody gets a different color. Of course, I wouldn't put more than probably 4 kids on a document at a time, because that can be a little and get a little too much in there. It might be fun for a little while to have like 10, but not for too much longer. We can have as many as 50 in a document, but I don't recommend doing that. Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
You know, and one thing though that I really liked, and it was you, Misha, that showed this to me. Students are sometimes insecure about their writing.
Yeah.
They struggle to get words on a page, and you'll have situations where a student will write amazing work,
yeah,
and then delete it. And as a teacher, you can go back and say, hey, Michelle, look what you wrote here.
Yeah.
This was really good. Why did you delete it? And have that talk with that student. And it kind of gives you an insight to what they were thinking during their writing process. And so that's a strong tool. So even if it's just one student, take a look at that version history. Take a look at the writing and really dig deep into it. It will give you some insight to how and what they're thinking in the writing.
And speaking of looking at that, right up here, I have something called Draftback. And if you're a writing teacher, this might be something you might be interested in putting onto your Google Docs. It's free. You'll find it under the add-ons, right? Okay. I believe it might be just in the App Store. I'm trying to remember exactly how I put it in there. But what it does is it takes a document, and like if a student shares a document with me, I have to be able to edit that document. They have to give me that sharing right. So in Google Classroom, that happens automatically, right? Because you can put in all the comments and all that on there. So when I click on Draftback on the document, it shows me from step 1 everything that they've typed in like a little movie. And I can do it in real time, or I can do it in super quick time, and it'll show me everything that they've typed and where they've deleted, and it shows me the whole thing. Now imagine you're looking at a document and then you're just seeing chunks of your whole entire paragraphs just appearing. What is that telling you as a teacher? Well, maybe we need to look at this. Maybe this might be something that's been copy pasted from somewhere else, right? Or again, you might see something amazing that got deleted, and you want to know why that was deleted. So that this Draftback, and I do believe it was an application. Fried Technology showed this to me a couple of years ago, and I still have it because I just think it's a really great tool. It's a great little feature. You find it in the Chrome Web Store, and it's called Draftback. Not to be confused with Backdraft, a movie that came out back in the 80s. I was calling it that for the longest time, Draftback. So, but this is another little feature to have. But again, you have to have edit rights to the document in order to see what all happened on that document. So you've got this here, and you've got the version history, 2 different ways to check on that document and make sure that the writing is there. I do want to just show you one more here, and one of them is called WriteQ. And what WriteQ does, and I can't do it to this document because I don't have much information on this document, but what it does is it will actually like rate the document for you. So you can set up like a rubric for it, and it will kind of like grade it based on that rubric, not really grade it, but give you kind of an overview of all of the misspelled words or grammatical errors and that kind of stuff. This is another one that's free. I suggest if you're a writing teacher to play around with this one, because this one is quite amazing too. And it may help you and save you some time as you're going through all of those compositions and different things. So WriteQ, and this is by Text Help, I believe, and who has done the Equatio and a couple of other ones that we like to use, and they're giving a lot of their stuff up for free, and so take advantage. And so look up WriteQ. Now this is an add-on, which means you'll go to Get Add-ons and you'll look for it under WriteQ, and then pop it in there if that's something that you want. So but I do want to recommend that one. That one's pretty pretty nice too. Are there any questions about anything? And I hope I've given you just at least one thing to hang on to for today, because I'm looking at, we've got 10 minutes left already. Unbelievable.
It goes fast.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the links to RaiQ and
Okay.
Draftback
Thank you.
into the chat.
Thank you
that
so
way
much.
you can grab it real quick.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody, anything I missed that maybe you have a question about? Not that I have the answer. I can make stuff up pretty well though.
You didn't miss it. You didn't go over it. I just have a question, like on my Google Drive.
Yes.
I'm a teacher. Well, I'm the librarian, but I'm like listed as a teacher in all the classrooms. So every time like a kid turns in a piece of work, the teacher assigns something, I have like 6,000 documents in my Google Drive. Okay, if I delete them from my drive, will it delete them like from the teacher's drive? Like, will their work disappear?
No, it won't disappear. I'm surprised it's just going straight to your Google Drive though, and it's not going to your classroom folder.
Oh, it's a hot mess.
Yeah, I know. I used to see mine because we get stuff from everybody in the district too, kind of like that. So when people like do stuff, sometimes I'm like, I didn't create this, and it's because somebody else had created it, and somehow it got shared with us. So I totally understand. And I just kind of like just try not to look at that stuff and just leave it there, because I just kind of avoid it. But it won't delete from them, but I would recommend doing that. And unfortunately, do you have anything on that, Larry? Because I don't think it will delete on their end.
I don't think it deletes, but you know what I would do is I would create a folder in my drive and just move it in there. You're not moving it in their drive, but you move it in your drive, just kind of like making a closet. You know that closet that we all have that we stuff everything in? Call it closet and just put them all in there.
Yeah, because I have a hard time finding my stuff, like when I have to do PLC or what have you. Okay, so then is there a way to like click on all 6,000 of their items and move them all at once? Or do I have to do like one at a time?
You don't have to do one at a time, but you can't do all 6,000 at once, because the system is going to be like, what? So what you can do is, now you're going to be like, oh my God, your drive. You see all this is all like just stuff. And yeah, sorry. I'm still waiting for it to get down to the bottom. Okay. Yes. So what I do is I click on one, and then I hold the shift down, right? And then I go however many I'm going to go down, and I'm just going to pretend this is where it is. And you see how it highlighted all of them?
Yes, ma'am.
And so then I can go up here to move, right? Oh, okay. And then, yeah, now it's not going to, some of this stuff, it's not going to allow me to move because it's not mine, but you go move, and then it'll move it into a folder for you. Okay. Folder that you chose.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that a lot with some of the stuff in my other drives, but yeah, I highly recommend that. And to get to your stuff, one of the things you might want to do too is go ahead and hit recent over here on the left. And I want to say there's a settings in here for, is it it's under notifications? No, I know it's here, that where you can only see certain parts of your drive. Okay. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one of these where you change the density of what you're looking at. And I don't see it. I'll have to see if I can find that, and if I do, I'll send something over to you on it. Okay. But there's one where it'll kind of condense it down so you don't see like all the folders. You just see the ones that because you can star some of your folders too, and then those are the only ones that you'll see in your drive. You don't have to see everything else that's in your drive. Okay. I just have to see everything because I never remember what all is in here. As you can see, I have a lot. So I kind of have to keep it open.
Okay, that helps. So like,
yes.
I won't run out of space type of thing and have to start
No,
deleting.
okay. Do you see this number over here? Do you see this number?
Yes.
Okay, that's my drive online.
Okay.
I have 127 gigabytes, which is way more than my computer at home can even carry.
Okay.
So, no, you're not going to run out of space. It's not going to, and as a matter of fact, any Google Doc and all that stuff that's put in is in there. It doesn't take up any space in there because it's from Google. Now that may change later, they're telling us, but as of right now, you're not going to run out of space. So don't worry. You don't have nearly what I have in my drive. So don't worry at all. Any other questions? It's just about that time.
All right. Good job, Misha.
Well, thank you. And I hope I gave you at least one little nugget of something that you can take away today and use tomorrow that you didn't know before. I'm hoping. If you do have any questions or anything, please let us know how we can help you. Google Docs is really, really awesome, especially with that new EPUB feature. It's been there for a little while, but I really think it will do wonders for our kids. Mm-hmm. We have plans for it too.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, Misha. Thank you for spending this time with us and showing us the awesomeness of Google Docs.
Google Docs, yes.
All right, y'all.
Get out there and make some GIFs.
Have a great evening. Stay safe, everyone.
All right.